Well, I have to say, I never thought I'd see John Kehoe breaking it down to the Rolling Stones, but we just have. Of course, the Rolling Stones on 101.9 Chaif FM, and thanks for staying with us, Niki Seberini, and we have John Kehoe in the studio, best-selling author and leader in mind power, and we're talking about John's book, Quantum Warrior, The Future of the Mind, and one of the quotes from John's book, taken, of course, from South African Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa, who says, life is an instrument and we must learn to play it. And that is the weaving of that web. So when I came along to Woodmead a few weeks ago, it must have been about 6 weeks ago, I can't remember exactly, I came along with my husband, the country club, and you were talking about the Quantum Warrior and all aspects of it, and being this, it's this whole cosmic journey and this cosmic game. You mentioned time, quantum time. And I think that as you started to talk about past, present, future, everyone sort of sat up in their seats, because it seems completely unreal. And it seems like something which is very difficult to get one's head around. And yes, this is what a lot of scientists are talking about at the same time. And this is part of weaving this web. What is quantum time, John?
Well, quantum time is the acknowledgement and recognition that in this life that we have, there are many dimensions. In fact, string theorists, which is the new cutting edge of quantum physics, is now suggesting that there are 11 dimensions that we have access to. And one of the dimensions is time and space. And it's the one that we are very familiar with, and in time and space, time is linear. Breakfast happens before you go to sleep, and we're children, then adolescents, then adults, and we grow old, and everything happens in chronological order. We have watches, and all these things happen, and nobody's going to dispute that that is the way it works. But what Einstein was the very first to suggest, he said that past, present, and future are really a stubborn illusion that scientists are realizing that actually past, present, and future are happening simultaneously on a different dimension.
Now that just sounds confusing.
No, how is that possible? It's totally confusing. It's totally outrageous, and yet that is the truth of what science is teaching us, and that it is possible for us to transcend time, to go back in time, or to go into the future and use the future as well. So I've always rather intuitively known this. No, let me back up. I have always had an unusually strange fascination with time, and I could never figure out, why does time fascinate me for such to such a degree. And my wife has probably heard me say at least 500 times after something's over, I go, and now it's in the past. Like this mysterious thing, that our holiday in Hawaii that was so full, and we've had 2 weeks there, and we're flying back to Canada, and now it's in the past. Like, whoa, it went into this void.
Where is that?
Yeah, like, where is it? How did it happen? And it shouldn't surprise me, because that's the way it works, but it did. It always fascinated me. And then I had a few extraordinary experiences that completely broke my concepts of time. One of them, and I write about it in my new book, Quantum Warrior, is I was speaking one time, and I got off the stage, and as soon as I got off the stage, the thought came to me, my investments are going to do fine. And
just the thought in
just
your
the thought, it just came to me. A voice said to me, your investments are going to do fine. And it's my inner voice. And at that time, I'd made an investment, and it had gone horribly wrong. I was losing, $100,000, and it was just a disaster. And so I was just curious, how does the voice know my investments are going to do fine? Fast forward, they did fine. They did great. I made money on the investments. But the question became, how did the voice know? How did it know? How could my inner voice know that my investments were going to be fine unless it could see into the future? And if it could see into the future, then obviously in some dimension, I mean, what was it seen into? Obviously, in some dimension, the future must have already happened. Because,
which is mind-blowing.
Which is mind-blowing.
Because does that mean that everything is in preordained?
No, it doesn't mean that everything is preordained, but what it does mean is that, in fact, it's the exact opposite. What it does mean is that you have a real responsibility to make the choices now that will actualize the future of what you want to become. That when we awaken to the fact that past, present, and future are happening simultaneously, it means that your future self should be guiding you in the correct decisions that you are to make in your career, in your marriage, as a mother or father, to make the right things so you can tune in to what is it that I should be doing right now to actualize the ultimate future for what I want. And there's every possibility, too, that there are many parallel universes of possible futures for us. And we need to tap into the one that is most advantageous. And we can actually go to our future selves and have our futures...
Make the decision.
Make our future selves help us. Because your future self has a real stake in you getting it right. I mean, your future self does not want you to make stupid decisions right now. I healed myself from the future. What happened?
How on earth did you do that?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Heal yourself from
yes,
the
I healed myself from the future. A number of years ago, I threw out my back, and it was very serious. And I'm lying in bed, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not getting better. And usually, if I throw out my back, and it happened a few times before, a couple days rest, and it fixes itself up. Well, I was a week, and I couldn't even get out of bed, and I had to use a bedpan. It was that bad, and so I started to get really worried. I started to worry because sometimes backs never fix themselves. And then I caught myself and I said, Mr. Mind Power, what are you doing worrying? You can't worry because that's doing the exact opposite of what you want to happen.
You're empowering
you're empowering the worrying thoughts. You're weaving the web with the images of what you don't want. And so I started to do my Mind Power but I was kind of half doing it half-heartedly, and I didn't really feel like doing it. And really what I wanted is I wanted someone to heal me. I wanted someone to just come in, whether it be a doctor, whether it be a healer, whatever it is, someone just to come in and fix me. And then all at once it hit me. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll call upon my future self to heal me, because I have already experimented with this. And so I called upon my future self.
How?
I called upon my future self just by saying, I'm here.
Right.
You know I'm here. You can see me. You're in the future. You're aware of everything that is happening to me. I need help now. I need you to heal me. And so as soon as I said that, I began to imagining what might my future self be doing, and so I saw my future self working with his hands as I do with my hands in healing. I saw my future self with a drum, as I sometimes in shamanic ways do drums. I saw my future self singing healing songs, which I do. All these things I do presently. So of course my future self would be doing that. And so I saw my future self doing all of these things. And then I began, here's miraculous, that word again. And by the way, the word miraculous really only means things that we don't understand logically, and most of reality we don't understand logically. I don't know if you or your listeners have noticed, but life really isn't that logical. We like to pretend it's logical, but it's not logical at all. It's bizarre. It's outrageous. So what miraculously started happening is I started to feel my back tingling. Now, I didn't force myself to imagine this. My back was tingling. The next day, my back was much better. Within 3 days, I was completely up and walking. Within a week, I was completely healed. And then I waited for another week to make sure it was 100% healed. And then at that point, what I did is I went over to the bed where I had been lying 2 weeks earlier, and I said, I'm your future self, John. You are calling me right now.
Sure.
You are asking me to heal you. And so I will heal you. And I began moving my hands over, which is an empty bed. But in my mind, I realized 2 weeks ago, I'm on this bed and I'm suffering with a bad back. I need to heal myself from the past. So I started doing the exact things that I imagined. I began singing the healing songs. I began using the drums. And I did this like about a half a dozen times over the next 2 or 3 days. And I also said to my past self, I want you to call upon me at any time. I want you to know that I'm here for you. And anytime you need something, you can call upon me. And so that gave me great assurance, because now I know that my future self is ever available to help me. And now what I do also is I go into the past, and I think of times in my past where I've needed help or assistance, and it could have gone one way or the other, and I help myself in the past to make the right decisions. Through traumatic situations, through stressful situations, I help myself in the past. And so now I have a relationship with my past self. I have a relationship with my future self. And of course, I'm here now. And so all three parts of us, the past me, the future me, and the present me, are in relationship with one another, and we're working together as a team, and we're a wonderful team, and we trust one another, and we love one another. And how reassuring to know that my future self is intimately interested in me getting it right. Because, for example, if I hadn't healed myself, let's say that my back was permanently thrown out, guess what? That affects the future self. So, of course, your future self will help you. Now, how outrageous, how totally bizarre, outrageous, and it's just as outrageous as 30 years ago when I sat in interviews like this, and I looked at the interviewer and I said, your thoughts create your reality. And they went, how ridiculous, John Kehoe. You have no idea what you're talking about. But you know what the funny thing is, this concept, as bizarre and outrageous as it seems, I would say at least 50% of the people that I share it with are kind of going, you know what? I think he could be right.
It's sounding.
There's a resonance that, you know what? There just might be something here. And actually, I start off the chapter on quantum time with a very interesting quote, and it's by Niels Bohr, who's one of the founders of the quantum theory, and he's commenting on a colleague's paper, and his quote is, "We all agree your theory is crazy. What divides us is whether it is crazy enough to have a chance of being right." And so if you say that my theory is crazy, I'll agree. It is crazy. It's outrageous. There's nothing logical about it at all, except it's backed by quantum physics, and it's backed by the mystic teachings of our religions, and we are evolving. Now here, let me take it just one step further.
Yes.
Now, if you think here, I'm going to go even one step further. Is that through neuroplasticity, which is rewiring of the brain, as we take this practice into our life and regularly practice it, there is every possibility that we will rewire our brain into actually giving us these abilities.
John, we've got to talk again in 20 years' time.
Exactly.
We'll be communicating from different parts of the world.
I know we will.
Fantastic. John, it's been so interesting. And if you've been listening and you're fascinated and you want to know more about how to become a quantum warrior and look at the future of the mind and read more about these thoughts, quantum time, and more, you've got to get your hands on the book Quantum Warrior, The Future of the Mind by John Kehoe. John, it has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I really do hope that you've enjoyed it as well. And just a reminder, the 27th of March, Tuesday, Woodmead Country Club, 4 minutes away from 12 o'clock.